Well, alrighty then. All right, this is number 2, page 17 of The Magic of Psychotronic Power. Okay. I'll take that back. It's rule number 16. Okay, the special photographer process. The special photographer. Remember when we talked about Kirlian photography? Okay, the special photographic process that takes pictures of your psychotronic power. The psychic medium of yesteryear could perceive a mental body that seemed to surround the physical body. The mental body is an object of great beauty, the delicacy and rapid motion of its particles giving it an aspect of living iridescent light, wrote Annie Besant, Besant, with Reverend C. W. Leadbeater. I have some of his books. At the start of this century, theirs was a psychic view. However, scientists a century ago were perceiving the same phenomena, and Tartarians were experiencing it thousands of years prior. Human radiation, or effua, EFFUVIA, were observed as early as 1843 by Karsten in England. Nikola Tesla, now remember the Tartarian stuff, and some of this might be, hoaxers. The inventor of alternating current began using a high voltage electric field to examine this radiation in the 1890s. But it took a Soviet husband-wife team, Semyon and Valentina Kirlian, to perfect a photographic process using only photographic paper, no film, that captures this human radiation. And so research Kirlian photography if you haven't. I've talked about it before. Like you cut a leaf in half and then you do Kirlian photography and you'll see the whole field of the leaf. I love Kirlian photography. I've always wanted to get one of those cameras. These photographs reveal flares and coronas around your body, especially your fingertips. If you are tired, there is less illumination. If you are angry, the colors are red. If you are in a prayerful mood, the colors are predominantly blue. Dr. Don Parker, creator of SRA Reading Labs, has adapted the Kirlian method to study the reaction of one human aura on another. Fingers of a man and woman who touch change instantly. He calls his method psychophotography. So, keeping in mind that the fifth element being love, and that love is what makes us all connect and raise our vibration outside of the control of the matrix, the parasites, the dark ones, the overloads, whatever you want to call them. And spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but the new Matrix really shows that the power to transcend all of those Mr. Smiths that we have in our life, be it your husband, your wife, your parents, your any authority, any busybody, some sort of controlling energy that's like the Agent Smith in the show. To transcend all of that is pure love. Okay, then we got that off my chest. Okay. So, Jarbas Maranhão, a civil engineer with the Brazilian Institute for Psychobiophysical Research in Sao Paulo, has also produced Kirlian photography that shows energy transfer from one person to person psychotronic energy. In the United States, experiments reported at the Second World Psychotronic Conference in Monte Carlo, July 1975, the stuff they keep away from us, right? Your powers, who you really are. Okay, the emanation of a plant were successfully restricted by conscious action at a distance by two men and a woman, each using their own consciousness but in different ways. What does it all mean? It means you can exert control over other people if you know how to control your psychotronic power. And don't be getting all moralistic here and going, I don't want to control other people, that's immoral. Okay, well, other people are controlling you. Okay, you are being controlled by the magazine at the store, your Facebook feed. Every single person in your life is controlling you until you are in charge and you're controlling you. okay, then you project out what you expect of people and the version of them that you prefer through your belief of how they should be. That literally manifests as a physical reality. Okay, let me tell you right here and now that learning to control your psychotronic power is easier than learning to ride a bicycle or learning to drive a car. Let me tell you that right now, it is. It's a natural ability. Man has always had this ability, but never really knowingly and purposely utilized it, right? They use it to create the world they want. You take control of it to create the world you want. Okay, so that time has come for you to use it purposely. All right. How some people have been using their psychotronic power unknowingly. Yeah, and that's when, if you watch my videos before, when I talk about creating reality with your unconscious, and then once you identify the belief, you're creating it consciously. So he's using the word, so unconscious here would be unknowingly. In Claverham, England, there is an electrical engineer named Leonard Locker who uses a small nickel-plated pendulum attached to a string and held over a map to locate faults in underground electrical cables. It was not until he retired as chief engineer for the Southwestern Electricity Board in Bristol, England, several years ago, that he started dowsing for cable breaks. Now companies all over England send him their cable maps when hard-to-locate breaks occur, and he is uncannily accurate in pinpointing the trouble. When Locker asks the pendulum to point to the break on a cable map, he is doing something not greatly different than the Czech who stared at the apple, and his stare energy turned a pointer to an apple in the next room. Both are using psychotronic power. It is the same energy at work as when a dowser uses a forked stick and finds water when well diggers failed. Well, the well diggers I've always known always douse. They don't try other fails. That was just a side note. The pendulum and dowsing rod work for everybody when they become aware of psychotronic power. But then, as you will find on the pages ahead, once you do become aware of it, you can locate lost objects, discover mineral veins, determine the best location for a new enterprise, even without tools like pendulums or dowsing rods. Psychic healers, whether they are using laying on of the hands or praying or tapping psychotronic power. I guess that was the whole sentence. Let me read that again. It's a little bit of a different slant. Psychic healers, whether they use laying on the hands or prayer, are tapping into the psychotronic power. Okay. You are going to learn to tap psychotronic power, in other words, to use it, on the pages ahead, and you will be able to use it, as thousands are now doing for healing. Psychic predictions, whether they are consciously aware or not, are using psychotronic power to transcend time and know the future. When you learn to control your psychotronic powers, you will be able to predict events in the future. Psychometry experts, that's like reading an object, like other people's energy or what an object has to say, like Peter Hurkos, Hurkos, who can touch an object involved in a crime and locate the criminal, are using their psychotronic power. As you now become in control of your psychotronic power, you will be able to roll back time and span great distances to know what you want to know and accomplish whatever you want to have done. Psychic powers, once the handmaiden of mysticism, are now becoming psychotronic power. Photographable, measurable, controllable. Your psychotronic power will become for you as miraculous as electricity appeared to be to your grandparents. Except for, the etheric field and the Tataric and all that. In fact, Dr. Shiju, Shiuji, Inomata, Inomata, of Japan's Electrotechnical Lab, believes that the day will soon come when electrical energy will be converted into psychonic energy. Yes, and it already was. Computers will thus be given the ability of human consciousness to see into the future and pick up information thousands of miles away. They were already doing that. Okay, the next section is called Your Fingers Concentrate Psychotronic Energy. Have you noticed how some people talk with their hands? Have you watched my videos, right? My hands have a life of their own. They talk with their hands as they speak to you. Their hands keep emphasizing what they're saying with appropriate gestures and movements. And how do we know those were appropriate, right? And how do babies know how to smile, what to laugh at? It's all vibrational, right? All right. It's not only physical energy that is passed through our hands, but psychotronic energy as well. Since we learn from empathy with our hands, they are an especially appropriate starting point for learning to control psychotronic power. You can probably use the psychotronic energy emanate from your fingertips, and you can probably feel it. Action, plan to sense psychotronic energy. Oh, I put the emphasis on the wrong word there. Action plan. Action plan to sense psychotronic energy. To see it, find a black background. Touch the fingertips of your left hand with the fingertips of your right hand. Take a deep breath and pull them slowly apart. You may see transparent white lines still connecting them. To feel it, hold your left palm vertically, facing right. Point the fingers of your right hand at your left palm. Keep the fingers at least 6 inches from your palm so you do not feel heat. Now slowly move your right fingers up and down as if you were shooting bullets at your left palm. As you do, you will feel a tingling or other sensation move up and down your palm, your left palm. This is the feeling of your psychotronic energy. To use it, hold a picture of what you want to happen in your mind in a special way that I will teach you. Then point your fingers at the person or things involved, or even just a picture or sketch of that person or thing, and what you want to happen has been activated. Bill and Lillian knew just what kind of house they wanted. They did not have the $50,000 they knew it would take to build it. In fact, they were in debt. But they sketched the house, the floor layout, and how it would look outside, and kept the plans where they could inject psychotronic energy into them with their fingers by touching and eyes by looking at them. The small house they lived in was cramped. Day-to-day cash was always a problem. Nevertheless, they knew they had created this from their original mental pictures having to do with making a go of it together. They were succeeding in that picture. Now they would succeed in their next picture. Within months they were out of debt. Lillian received a large bequest of money, and within another short period they had purchased land. One builder quoted $70,000, but they kept investing their plans with more psychotronic energy. One day they met a builder socially. He studied the plans and bid $30,000. A bank readily agreed to finance it within 6 months. Bill and Lily were living their dreams, home paying less than the rent they were paying before. Bill and Lillian lived in that house for 15 years totally happy. I was like this. I was like, yee-haw, happy like that. But then they yearned for life in a tropical climate. They began to picture, plan, draw, and program for this new vision. You guessed it. Where are they now? Alrighty then. Alright, the next section is called Your Eyes Focus Psychotronic Energy. There you go. Did you ever stare at somebody and have them turn around and look at you? A man who likes to look at pretty girls on the beach knows even though a girl may not see him looking, she will adjust her bikini. There is a power in the stare that you can feel just as easily as you feel power in your palm by pointing your fingers at it. Stare power that causes a person to turn, a girl to adjust her bathing suit, is the same power that the Czechs have learned to store in a special shaped container and which will turn a pointer. It is psychotronic power. And again, when I say the names of people, just, intuit it for yourself, because I think history's all distorted. But Adolf Hitler used the power against Czechoslovakia and other countries prior to the start of World War II. Witnesses who visited his private office in Birkenblocken saw photographs of Prague, Warsaw, Antwerp, Amsterdam, and other key European cities posted on the walls. Each photo had swastikas painted or pasted on them as if they were on the buildings in the photos themselves. Was he using some occult power when he gazed intently at these photos and willed what he saw to come true in his version of reality? Have you seen The Man in the High Castle on Prime, Amazon Prime? Yeah, alternate realities around that stuff. Maybe he thought he was, but today's science has de-occulted this process. It is the use of psychotronic power, or in this case, abuse. Psychotronic power is no different. And remember, like now, you can't. You can sit there all day and wish ill will, ill will, ill will, ill will. You can't hurt anybody. So you can use your power to help people, to heal people and yourself, to draw things to your life, to draw things to other people's lives. But you can do no harm. It's just the new earth energy. Psychotronic power is no different than any other kind of power. Electricity can be used properly to advantage. Used improperly, it can electrocute. Heat can cook a meal in a warm house. It can also burn. Atomic power can run a generator, but can also level a city. Psychotronic power can bring you untold riches when used properly. But when used improperly, it can bring you pain and disaster, as Hitler came to know. Read instructions before using, says the label. I place that label before you now. I promise on the pages ahead to not only give you the key to focus your psychotronic power for health, wealth, and success, but to do so safely, bringing abundant happiness to all involved in your use of it. The eyes have it. The hands have it. Eyes and hands are psychotronic guns. Now, so in other words, they shoot your version of reality out there for it to come back. Now, isn't it interesting how they go, okay, how many vote for this and how many vote for that? And then they go, oh, the ayes have it, right? So they go, or aye or nay, and then they go, that's so interesting how, so which eyes, so much of this stuff, the magic that Dave is using on you. Okay, read instructions. Okay. Right. The eyes have it. Okay. You have stare power. You have point power. You have mental power that generates psychotronic energy, which gets its instructions from your eyes and fingers to do your bidding like a giant slave. Well then. How psychotronic power works its miracles. The definition of psychotronics at the beginning of this book describes how it is an interaction between consciousness and matter. Scientists in all disciplines, physics, biology, medicine, chemistry, are now studying these effects of consciousness on the body and on the environment. A waiter who could not afford a car to drive to work would stop each day in front of a beautiful house he passed while walking to work. How he would love to live in a house like that. One evening, a woman he was serving in the restaurant said to him, "Young man, I've seen you looking at my house almost every day. I'm going south to live. Would you like to buy it?" He explained how he had no such money. She explained how she would love to have the house to be in the hands of someone who would appreciate it and take care of it, even if it was no longer hers. She invited him to visit her. At that visit, she agreed to sell him the house at a price so low he could pay it off out of his salary and tips. In a short while, he was living in the house he had stared at. On the fact of it, you could call this coincidence. He just happened to like a house that was owned by a soft-hearted woman. But then when you see psychotronic power at work, bringing to the person that generates that power, a trip around the world, a spouse, a new lease on life, a lost ring, an executive position, a court decision, you begin to wonder if these are really coincidences. Yeah, that's a word. Even scientists at work measuring and photographing psychotronic energy and seeing it perform miracles in the laboratory are not sure of the full nature of what they're dealing with. No, they're not. Many are embarrassed at what the evidence points to, as they should be, because they don't factor in spirituality and ether and blah, 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 all the secrets. There appears to be a quality to space that permits psychotronic energy to go from here to there instantly. This does not conform with existing laws of physics as they are currently understood. It appears to be more within the scope of religion. People who use psychotronic power appear to exhibit godlike facilities. I think I better reword that sentence. I think you know what happened there. People who use psychotronic power appear to exhibit godlike faculties, so abilities. Naturally, scientists get somewhat shaken up by this. Blah, blah, blah. Who cares? But they're persevering. The scientists persevered, especially in communist countries where traditional religious concepts are not accepted. Well then. It is just a matter of time before present laws of physics will be altered to accept the new data that psychotronics has supplied. Right. Every time they learn something new, they change something, right? And every time observed, they change it. So they don't know. They don't know. Okay, find out what you know, what you believe, what you've studied, what you've discerned. Science has still not explained the sense of smell. The physical energies that radiate and cause fragrance to be emitted by a flower can only be surmised by science today. No measurement, no proof. Actually, there's more scientific proof of psychotronic energy than there is of the phenomena we call smell. Okay, the oldest power in man's history. The word psychotronics was only officially defined in 1975. But just as electricity was lighting up the sky as lightning long before the word electricity was born, so psychotronic energy has been affecting men's lives for millennia. In other words, eternity. It was called vital fluid by medieval alchemists, mumai, also called, so M-U-M-I-A, by Paracelsus, Paracelsus, the 16th century Swiss physician. Animal magnetism by Mesmer, the Australian doctor who pioneered in hypnotism around 1800. Orgone energy by William Reich. Again, discern, the history's not, the techniques and learning your own technology and learning how to do this for yourself is more important than these names. Okay, Odic force by Baron von Reichenbach. It's Odic, O-D-I-C. And such different names by other scientists as vis medicrasa natura. So that's V-I-S, and the second word is M-E-D-I-C-A-T-R-I-X, and then so that would be natural medicines. That I see that word when I look up homeopathy stuff. Okay, eloptic energy, E-L-O-P-T-I-C energy, nervous ether, X-force, and biocosmic energy. Gums of ancient India worked with a life gums. I don't know if that means gurus or teachers, but it says gums. Okay, gums of ancient India worked with the life force they called prana. They became adept at controlling this energy and in producing phenomena that astound scientists even today. In Hawaii, where the author resides, the priests or kahunas work with mana, M-A-N-A. I got a book about Huna, Hawaiian spirituality. I'll read to you sometime, and lots of experience with feeling it, the earth and the churches there. And they could turn on this energy and improve the level of life and also bring about death. These secrets are emerging today. Man has always had psychotronic energy, but he's not always turned it on. He's not always turned it into a power by harnessing that energy to do work. So in other words, consciously creating your reality. We now know how to do this. The work that it can do for us is as unbelievable as the wireless telegraph was to our forebears, and radio and television. We control it. When you learn to use your psychotronic energy on the pages ahead, you will learn to put this energy to work in ways that make television seem like child's play. Energy at work is power. Energy at work is power. Energy at work is power. You are Creator God. They use your Creator God to create the reality they want. Own your Creator God powers right now. You will have the power to do things that only mystics and psychics have been able to do. The reason they've been able to perform these miracles is that, knowingly or not, they have put their psychotronic energy to work. The method is very simple. All it involves is your eyes, your thoughts, and occasionally your fingers. It gives you the secret combination to unlock sleeping abilities, such as the ability to predict future events, obtain the solution to a baffling problem, know where a person is and exactly what they're doing, to be a faith healer, including energy healing, energy medicine, acquire a possession legally without money, affect the weather, locate oil wells, mineral veins, and gems, cause a person to comply with your wishes. What is more, you'll be able to teach others the same fantastic things. Georgette was admiring some pendants in a store. She saw one that seemed perfect for her. She invested it with her psychotronic energy in a special way. In a moment, the owner of the shop came over to her, reached into the showcase, picked out that very pendant, and handed it to her. Like it? I certainly do. You may have it. It was a gift, an unexplainable impulse experienced by the shopkeeper. Coinkydink? I don't know. Or psychotronics. Remember what it means, the fields of interaction between people and their environment. First steps in harnessing your psychotronic energy to do your bidding. Ben Franklin's electricity laboratory, fake news, was a conversation piece among his neighbors. Weird jars, kites, and metallic objects. Your psychotronic laboratory is in a secret place, well hidden from prying eyes, and all set up with millions of dollars worth of generating and computerized equipment. It's located within your mind, your biofield, your toroidal field, your torus, your Merkaba. You already know how to use this fabulous organ of the human being. All that will be new in using it to generate psychotronic power to do special work for you is putting together certain attitudes, desires, and mental images in a special sequence and in a special way. What will also be new to you is adding laser-like focus with the help of your fingers and your eyes. We all take our minds for granted. We don't use our mind consciously. It just happens. See, that's what we always talk about not letting it just happen. Because then you're a victim to circumstance. Okay? Anything that comes into your life, you put the definition. That's how you take charge as a creator, God, to create your reality consciously. Okay, you are reading now. You decided to open the book and read. You focus your eyes on the page. Reading happens. Adding and other arithmetic chores require a little more think power. 5 and 6 are 11. 17 and 17 are 7 and 6 are 13. 1 and 1 are 2, blah, 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 blah. It's mental work, it says. Using your psychotronic power is not mental work. It's easier than arithmetic. It's easier than reading this book. The reason it's so easy is it uses pictures instead of words and numbers. Words and numbers are man-made devices. They differ from one country to another, but mental pictures are universal. A picture of a dog is a picture of a dog, whether in Kentucky or Kenya. Pictures float in and out of our minds effortlessly all day long and much of the night. Dreams are mental pictures. Psychotronic energy functions through mental pictures. You can command your psychotronic energy with the words, I want a new gold Cadillac. But you will probably have a long wait ahead of you if you ever get it. On the other hand, if you use the mental picture of a gold Cadillac instead of the words, and use it together with your fingers in the special way you're about to learn, get the garage ready because that gold Cadillac is on the way. Okay. I'll be selling it to buy some other stuff, but you know. Okay. The fabulous brain has vast unused power. How can my brain, which has trouble adding and subtracting, produce a gold Cadillac, you ask? I didn't say that. Did you say that? Assumptions? Let me tell you something about the brain of yours, about that brain of yours. It is composed of neurons, which are something like electrical components in a radio or television set. You're the receiver. Okay. There might be 100 of these components in a television set. But do you know how many neurons in your brain? 30 billion. The brain weighs only about 3 pounds. Ugh. Barely 2% of your body, yet it contains 30 billion neurons capable of scanning for information and storing information. Each neuron is composed of many atoms. All told, there are 100 trillion atoms in the brain. That would be the number 1 with 26 zeros after it. We are not used to thinking in such large numbers. This even goes many times beyond the national debt and other astronomical statistics. The national debt. We owe the thunder gods. Okay, let's try translating 100 trillion into something more measurable. Suppose each atom was a BB pellet, about like the pellet used for an air gun. Now, if you filled a living room with these pellets, it would use a lot of pellets. 100 trillion, not quite. You would have to fill a living room every second for 94 million years to use them up. Inconceivable? You bet it is. And yet most people dare to limit the human brain. You dare to limit my human brain? You dare to limit your human brain? You dare to limit your creator God powers? I don't think so. Okay, it can't be done. Oh, yes, it can. And you going about to be doing it. You are going to be using psychotronic power to save lives, create art and music, locate treasure, restore health, perform Herculean tasks, sway opinions, and win at the game of life, whatever that looks like to you in your definition and your belief. Okay. You can choose the path of the hero, the path of the saint, or the path of the sage. That path can be a private country lane or a public express freeway. You will learn how to melt clouds or create rain, or project things in the sky, or project a house and then move into it. Have you seen that new Disney cartoon with the candle lit and the house projected? Okay, melt clouds or create rain. See inside a person's body and correct what you see. That's like the Dolores Cannon stuff, right? In the hypnosis, go in there, fix it all up. Command animals, birds, insects, and see them obey. Sway a judge and jury when right is on your side. See, right, high vibration. Improve your own or somebody else's looks. That's subjective, right? Complexion, radiance, demeanor. Multiple business contacts and proliferate the influence of your firm. Proliferate, grow. Okay. Turn rivals into supporters. Make prayers work. Predict stock market changes. See thousands of miles away. And this is only the beginning. We've only just begun. Okay. The above 10 accomplishments may mean absolutely nothing to you. Your lifestyle may entail different activities and have different needs. Those are just examples, you see. Whatever your special needs are, your psychotronic power stands ready to deliver them. Are you ready to push the button? Yeah, I think 30 pages later, we're ready to push some buttons. Okay, chapter 2, pushing buttons. Should I stop here or should I tell you some secrets? Kind of like, what should I do to... Oh no, don't keep it a secret. Don't keep it a secret. Okay. Use your psychotronic power to make your wishes come true. You begin to see visible effects of your psychotronic energy by making plants grow faster. Armed with this confidence, you are able to attract the opposite sex to your side with mental commands and psychotronic hand motions. Or, the same sex, should you prefer. You learn to get information about a person from an object that belongs to that person, and to detect information a distance away that you could not possibly know otherwise. Finally, you see how to change circumstances that you do not want to happen. Let's get down to business. The business of harnessing psychotronic power to do your bidding. Is there somebody you like very much and would wish to like you more? You can use this for, manifesting a new home, raising your vibration, healing your body. These are just examples. And a lot of people are interested in, someone to complete them. So it can be anything as long as you're owning your mind and your creator God powers. Okay. You're going to make that wish come true in the next few minutes, and you will not have to leave the chair you're sitting in. I'm going to give you a very simple procedure to begin with. We must crawl before we walk. This procedure is simple as it is effective. You will see it work. It will probably work within 24 hours, certainly within 72. How do you turn on psychotronic power? No switch, no rheostat, no faucet. But it is something like all three. Can you imagine a bright red apple? Can you imagine taking a bite out of it and now seeing the inside where you bit into it? If you had a specific apple in mind, and if you had an electronic device similar to the brain encephalograph connected to that apple in the proper way, that apple would react the moment you thought of biting into it. Cleve Baxter, Backster, who discovered that simple lie detector equipment, the polygraph, could record plants reacting to human thought. Also worked with chicken eggs. With each egg of a dozen hooked up to its separate polygraph and meter, all the meters would react to his decision to eat an egg for breakfast. When he opened the refrigerator door and reached for the first egg, 11 meters stopped agitating, and the one he was reaching for became more agitated. We should not jump to the conclusion that the egg was getting nervous breakdown. Don't eat me. It could have been excited over fulfilling a high purpose or destiny of being eaten by man. The important thing is the egg knew. The image thought that Baxter had, I'll eat this egg, was transmitted. And that egg and that plasma in the egg is special, like in the shamanic egg cleansing. You ask the egg to do something and it does it. Within reason, like not the laundry or cookie dinner, but you know what I mean. What you will be thinking in a moment will be transmitted too, but in an even more powerful way. The first step in effective psychotronic power transmission. An instructor is teaching a course that leads to a greater awareness in the ESP. It is called Silva Mind Control. Students have been asked to relax and visualize their pet, cat, or dog, or neighbor's pet. They work with this pet by lifting it up in their imagination, turning it around, and viewing it from several vantage points. The next day, when students return for their next class, a discussion almost always arises about how more affectionate their pet was that evening. Picturing in the mind is the faucet that turns on psychotronic energy. So picturing in your mind and the emotions, smell the smells, hear laughter, hear as many details as you can with your senses that aren't saying, oh, my dream house, or oh, I want a mansion, or oh, I want 5 bathrooms, or I want a pool. See it, smell it, be in the picture of what you want. See it in images. Those are the pulses that create the electromagnetic vibrations that create your reality. Whew, that was a mouthful. Whew, the next day, okay, picturing in the mind is the faucet that turns on the power of the living God, otherwise known as psychotronic energy. Okay, try it out yourself before using it on a person. If you do not have a pet, cat, or dog, do it on plants. Here's a way to do it with mung bean sprouts. Action plan. Soak the mung beans overnight. Separate them in the morning into 2 identical glasses, one on the left, one on the right. You didn't really use anything to sprout, but water each exactly the same, however, several times a day, wherever you happen to be. Visualize the right-hand glass. Send kind thoughts to the batch of mung beans. Ignore the left-hand batch while doing this. Imagine you are giving extra water to the right-hand glass. Use your hands to go through the motion of watering. See the difference within 2 or 3 days. The mung beans in the right-hand glass will thrive on your psychotronic energy. In other words, that in which we pay attention to. Our focus creates reality. Energy flows where our focus goes. Okay? Okay. We have been told by our parents and then our teachers that our imagination is a useless thing. That's because they want to use it for their propaganda to create their reality. It's just your imagination. How many times have we said that to somebody or heard it? Well, I have some interesting news for you. Scientists now realize that the imagination is the key to getting things done. And imagination is everything, right? Everything started in the imagination. If it does not happen in somebody's thought first, it does not happen, period. That's what I just said. Imagination is the faucet that turns on psychotronic power. A jeweler uses it when he designs a new ring, seeing it, sketching it, then producing it. An architect uses it when he designs a building, seeing it, sketching it, rendering it, then having it converted into a working drawing, specifications, blueprints, and then built. A fiction writer uses it to create his characters. He sees them, lives with them in his imagination, and a book is created. And sometimes the characters you create in your writings, they live in your mind forever, whether you continue writing the book on paper or not. And it all plays out for me. All the stories I've ever wrote, places I've been, I mean, it's just there. Okay, the more realistic you can imagine, the more that psychotronic faucet is turned on. Okay? So, I think we'll leave it there. So, I hope you enjoyed your psychotronic readings and your psychotronic lessons for today. Let's see. Pick a hat. You want to keep it local? Or do you want the tree of life? Or do you want to wear both of them? Okay. Well, consider donating to our church. youchurchoflight@gmail.com is our PayPal. And stay tuned for number 3. I don't know when that'll be. So practice with your psychotronic focus and know your beliefs and creating your reality, because you are the power of the living God. Bye for now.